Leave it to Ripley's, believe it or not, to have crazy buildings like this. This one here is a giant ship in Panama City Beach, Florida. I can't wait to get inside and check this place out.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always coming my way.
It is my privilege tonight, as president of the Believe It or Not Club, to present to you Mr. Robert L. Ripley, who brings to us another collection of Believe It or Nots gathered during the course of his rambles around the world. Mr. Ripley.
Thank you. Members of the Believe It or Not Club, before taking you with me on another trip around the country by way of the screen, you may be interested to know that but for the vote of one man, we would all be talking German tonight. During the Revolutionary War, it was proposed in Continental Congress to adopt German as the official language of the United States, and the vote on it resulted in a tie. And believe it or not, the deciding vote, the vote that has made us an English-speaking nation, was cast by a German, Friedrich Muhlenberg. Truth is stranger than fiction, and since you only believe what you see, I'm going to show you the proof on the screen. Will you kindly put out the lights? And while you're settling yourselves comfortably in your chairs, I will show you a picture of the largest chair in the world, located at Thomasville, North Carolina.
I love that the sign here says, "Welcome to the weird Ripley's Believe It or Not Auditorium." And we are greeted with a very familiar face. Alright, so here's the thing about Ripley's. Pretty much all of their auditoriums are about the same, with a few differences. This is our very first time visit for both Jessica and I here at Panama City Beach, so we're kind of excited. This is what, our fourth Ripley's together? There was Hollywood, Orlando, St. Augustine, now this one. Right out the gate, there's a portrait here of Scarlett Johansson made out of candle wax, a sign that says, "Keep away from heat." And in the same room, they too have a wooden car. This time it's a Fiat. And behind Jessica, let's see if we can get a little closer look at it. Reminder, every 3,000 miles to change your oil. It's a painting of Paul Walker made out of motor oil. Not really a fan of Spider-Man, but this picture of Spider-Man is made out of 10 kilos of actual spider webs. We haven't seen this at a Ripley's before, but believe it or not, here's two photos of a blind man sculpting out of clay a bust of Ripley himself. And even though he couldn't see, he did it all by running his hands over his subject's face and features, like his ears and eyes and nose. And what would be Ripley's without cannibal skulls? A cosmonaut space glove, True Ghost Stories comic book, and pig hairballs. Also, it wouldn't be a Ripley's museum without some tried and true torture devices. That's just crazy. One kind of looks like a cello, doesn't it? I turn around and Jessica is over in the corners looking at the animal oddities, one of her favorite things at the museum. Hanging on the wall high above everyone is a genuine four-horned geep. He looks cute. On display they have an 8-legged Siamese calf, and right next to him are things that were found in a cow's stomach. Or how about a 2-headed calf skull? Now these are kind of cute. A miniature Chihuahua and a genuine Siamese kitten. I don't know if that is just cute or disturbing or what, but I kind of want it. Have you ever wondered if a unicorn bird existed? Well, you do now. It's right there. And while we're at it, how about a unicorn lamb? You, dear friend, are just too darn cute. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff here in this display, but what really caught my eye is right here in the center. Crown of Thorns tramp art. Okay. On the wall here, they have all kinds of old letters here sent into Ripley's, dating all the way back to the 30s. There's a display here about this dude by the name of Rodney Fox, who was attacked. I guess you'd say bitten, attacked, like Jaws, by a shark. Actual photos. And over here, and at first I thought it was like Dante going down into hell or something like that until I actually read the plaques, but here's a mannequin with what the shark bite would have looked like. Yeah. That does look like it hurts. You can tell just by looking at his face, that hurts. But can you imagine not only getting bit by a shark, but having the shark swim away with you in his mouth? Yeah, no thank you. There's the skeletal remains of an Atlantic bottlenose dolphin. Oddly enough, there's a giant man-eating clam here. Kind of like a shark, but a clam. With a pearl tie. And just like torture devices and shrunken heads, what Ripley's would not be a Ripley's without a Fiji Mermaid. It's not much, but they do have a nice little display here to sword swallowers of today and the past. You know, back in the day, I used to do this in a sideshow in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And now for some cooking ware. African execution sword and Fiji Island cannibal fork. I think this is the first Ripley's that actually has this. It's a tribal penis sheath.
It's underwear.
Underwear, next to masks that are kind of like in awe and shock of what am I in this case with? You're in here with a penis sheath, buddy. Underwear. Some crocodile skulls, decorated of course. This is honestly probably one of the creepiest things I have ever seen in a Ripley's. It's a puberty ceremonial dress, and just wait until you get a load of this mask. That's disturbing. I'd wear it. This is pretty amazing. We turned the corner, we thought it was bat wings, but it's not. Instead, it's a coconut fiber raincoat. But look how massive it is. From the 1800s. There's a pit of eternal despair here. Well, actually, it's not really. There is somebody hanging from hooks. Not a real person, a dummy. But believe it or not, I did something like this many years ago. Don't believe me? Feast your eyes on these pictures. They have a Titanic room here with a model of the Titanic itself and a giant iceberg behind it. A whole bunch of plaques to read. Not really much to show. Now this isn't an actual door from the Titanic, but it is a representation of what the doors would look like, that in case something would happen and water were to get in, they would shut these to seal off cabins and bulkhead chambers and other parts of the ship. Look at this really nice photo of Ripley. But my God, those teeth. It's okay though, dude. It's okay, you lived the life.
Well, folks, now I'm going down to St. James Infirmary. See my baby that she's stretched out the long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fair.
So it appears we walked into this giant room of paintings and signs and different things that you can interact with. There's Jessica right there. There's so much to see here, but most of it's art of some sort. So I'm just gonna kind of do this twisted, stand in one spot, 360 look and feel to it. There's a weird robot creature over there. But this room is massive. It didn't seem like this place would be this big, but I was wrong. And there she goes. Here's a collection of matchbook art of the Wizard of Oz. It's pretty darn intricate. I don't have a collection myself, but I always like the idea of matchbook art, or even autographed matchbooks, like old school Hollywood. Jessica, I think we found the shame masks. Shame, no shame on you, no shame on you. But check these out, these are awesome. This Ripley's, more than anything I've seen, has a very heavy Asian influence. Most of the time it's like African art and torture devices, but this is pretty incredible. Display case here for the lighthouse man with a candle on his head, right next to the human unicorn with a horn coming out of his head. What is going on here? Now, I've seen some massive jade sculptures, but this Chinese dragon ship is monstrous. It's beautiful, but monstrous. Turned the corner and I was greeted with this temple Buddha, and I thought it was gold or bronze or brass, whatever, but it's actually made out of wood. And hidden down here in the corner right next to it is a picture of Ripley's apartment in Manhattan that he bought and he filled with all kinds, thousands of oriental treasures that he collected from the Far East. Here's another photo of him standing in front of a giant sculpture. I've never seen anything like this before. Chinese knife money. The most common shape of Chinese currency was that of a knife worn on a belt, like swinging swords. That's cool. Like little butter knives. Expensive butter knives, but butter knives. There's a little placard here that says Chinese death notes, that the wealthy are often buried with money and prized possessions. Unable to afford this practice, the poor were buried with hell notes to replace genuine money. And I don't know if you can see this, but if you look closely, writing on it says Hell Bank. Over here in the corner, they actually have a giant piece of the Berlin Wall that hasn't been washed, pressure washed, like the people at Universal Orlando did. It's still intact. It still has all the artwork on it. Check that out.
That's what everything looks like. One thing that this Ripley has, most don't, is a mirror maze. And I've never done one before, so I'm really excited.
Jessica. What did you think of Ripley's Believe It or Wait.
Hey,
Jessica, there you are.
I'm here.
So what did you think of Ripley's Believe It or Not Panama City Beach?
I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a lot bigger than it looks. There, I think we're 3 stories, and at one point you open up into this like massive room. They have a full-part dinosaur skeleton. It's a lot of fun. And the mirror maze. I wanted to spend all day in the mirror maze. That was a blast.
And with that, we want to say thank you. A huge thank you to Ripley's Believe It or Not for making this happen. Christmas 2019, they gifted us with lifetime passes, and we've been visiting as many Ripleys as we possibly can. This was our 4th. There's so much more to see in the world. If you find yourself here in Panama City Beach, Florida, come check it out.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always coming my way.